Hey guys, welcome back to Semper Fi Mechanic. My name's Thomas. In today's video, we're going to be talking about a certain company that makes millions of dollars, but it does it by scamming and ripping people off. So in this video, I'm going to let you know their name and let you know their dirty deeds. Alright guys, we've made a couple of videos already about this topic, but we have never named the company because I signed an NDA, so I couldn't say anything about them. I could just talk in general terms. For the ones that have seen them other videos, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you haven't seen them videos and you're just clicking on this to find out what's going on, let me catch you up to speed. So a few months ago, this company reached out to me and asked me if I'd like to take a contract with them. All I would do is drive out to the addresses that they send me, and I would look at the vehicle. And I would check off and make sure the vehicle matches the email. It would say, this is the vehicle, this is the address, and this is how much mileage is on it, and this is the damage. And if the information is correct, I email the company back or actually call them back and let them know it's good to go. Now that's all I had to do. So when this company reached out to me, I was pretty excited. And all I had to do was verify that information. Now what they did with the vehicle was, they buy these vehicles, used and new, online. They're strictly an online thing. So they buy and sell cars strictly online. You pay for the car and they ship it to you. When they buy the vehicle, they'll come out and get it shipped back. So you can buy and sell cars strictly online. That is what their job is. So if you're going to sell your vehicle and you put in the information, the company's like, all right, we're going to buy it for $5,000. They send me out to verify that the information is correct. So that's all I was doing. On average, I was going to be making about $500 a day. And I really needed that at the time because I was facing a lawsuit, a frivolous lawsuit at that, from a customer. And it was costing me a lot of money, a couple $1,000s, which I didn't have to pay the lawyer. So I was pretty excited about this. This was a good opportunity. My first day was going to be January 1st this year, 2022. So I was going to be starting the year off right. So I was very happy, very excited. So when that day came, I woke up at 6 a.m. and there was the emails ready to go. I go out to the first call, drive out a little bit. Now remember, I'm in Columbus, Ohio, and that's in the center of the state. But this is for all of Ohio, so I was going to be doing some driving. So I drive out to the first job, I look at the vehicle, verify everything. I'm there maybe a half hour, 45 minutes. Call the company, let them know what's going on. I'm like, hey, it looks good to go. And they said, okay, we'll take it from here. You head off to your next job. I'm like, yes, sir. I'm like, that's awesome. That's all I had to do. That was a quick $150 right there, plus mileage. So I head out to my second call. So when I get out to the second one, everything's pretty good too, except what the guy selling his vehicle for is a couple $1,000s too low. And obviously the company ain't going to tell him that. So I'm not going to tell him that. I'm just out there to verify the information. I verify it, call the company. They're like, okay, sounds good. We'll take it from here. Go out to your next job. So I drive out to this next one and I'm looking at the email and I'm like, oh, that's a nice car. It's a 1968 Camaro. So I'm pretty excited to get out there. When I get out there, it's this old woman, about 75 years old, just a little frail old lady. She was like everybody's grandma. She's like, come in, hon. Made me some coffee, was trying to feed me pancakes, like, was just the best woman ever. You think of a grandma in America living on a farm, this is her, making you eggs, bacon, got your coffee, talking about the Bible. I mean, this is that woman. And I'm sitting there talking to her because just being a nice person, right? And I come to find out that the car is her husband's. Her husband has died a while back of cancer, so she's all by herself. She has a couple kids. They're grown doing their own things. She's all by herself. Well, I look at the vehicle. Everything's good to go. I call the company, and they're like, hey, we need to get it down a little bit lower. And I'm like, what? Because the other times I didn't have to do anything. Now they're telling me to try to get the price lower a little bit. I was kind of like taken back a little bit, but that's what they want. Okay, no big deal. I come back and I tell the old woman, I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. They're going to take care of you and do it. But we need to come down like $1,500 because they got to ship this thing all the way back. She's like, okay, 1 second. She calls her son and they talk for a few minutes. And I'm feeling weird a little bit because now I'm thinking, are they going to ask me to do this all the time? Like, you know how it is when you're negotiating prices for something. It's not fun. Some people like it, but it makes you feel weird, nervous, takes me out of my comfort zone. You know what I mean? So she comes back and says, okay, I think we can do that. And I'm like, oh, thank God. I call the company. I tell them, hey, she's willing to do that. And they're like, okay, sounds good. I'm still talking to the old lady, just being friends. Like, I'm supposed to be leaving by now. She's by herself. She's lonely. And I'm just a good-hearted dude. We got to get knowledge from these elderly people, man. They live through everything. So let them, bless you with that knowledge. And that's what I was doing. Company calls back. And I'm like, oh, 1 second, ma'am. I'm kind of confused at this point. Maybe the next job got canceled or whatever. And they're like, hey, you still around there? And I'm like, yeah, actually, I was sitting there talking to her. They're like, okay, listen, we need to get it down $3,500 more for our budget. I'm like, $3,500? Sir, they didn't want to come down the $1,500. I said, she's not going to budge, not a penny more. I said, I don't even want to ask that. Imagine going back to her after I told her, okay, it's sold, and then saying, drop it another $3,500. We're not talking $50 or $100, $3,500. And I'm like, there's no way she's not going to do it. I'm not even going to ask. And they said, well, maybe you need to look at the vehicle again, check it over, see if there's anything else. And I was like, I've already done the diagnosis. I said, it was good to go. And they said, no, you're not hearing me. You need to go back to the vehicle and check. Maybe that transmission needs some work. And I'm like, what? So you're telling me to go back, look at the vehicle, make something up, and then tell the woman that her transmission needs work on, so we can get this car for cheaper? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. And there's going to be times that you have to do this if you're going to work here. I was like, well, this ain't the job for me, brother. I'm not going to do that. And he goes, well, I think you're right. I guess this company's not right for you. And I was just blown away. I was like, do these people really just tell me that? Like, this is a big, big company. And the company, their name's Vroom. You've heard of Carvana. There's a couple other places. This is the other big one called Vroom. If you haven't ever heard of them, look them up. Google in Vroom, selling your car online, Vroom, and it'll come up. And Vroom is a huge company. So this company's worth millions of dollars. But what they're doing is they're scamming people. They're having mechanics like me go out, look at these cars, and then lie about them to get them for cheaper. And that ain't the only thing they're doing. The state of Florida filed 47 different counts against Vroom, because they was not transferring the titles within 30 days. People was buying their vehicles and wasn't even getting the titles for the vehicles. They're sitting there 2-3 months without the title of your vehicle. And with Vroom, you have to pay for it up front, then you get the vehicle. And that's not all. There's plenty of cases where the vehicle has shown up and it hasn't matched the pictures. It had 35,000 miles and the vehicle shows up and has 65,000 miles. There's actually one case where this guy bought a vehicle, sent a check for $63,000. They lost the check and they didn't want to work with him after that. It took him forever to get that money back. And he has a big YouTube channel. I'll link in the description his video about it, because it was a huge deal. Imagine sending a check for $63,000, buying a vehicle, and then they just lose it. And then they're like, I don't know what to do. Can't help you here. Like, what? What the hell are you talking about? And this is the worst case. The Better Business Bureau doesn't even have a rating for them anymore. Their rating used to be F. An F. Hell, I got like an A or B myself. And they got an F. Why? Because last year or two, there's been over like 1,100 complaints. And everything I'm saying, I'm putting right up here. So you'll see it. I'm showing you with proof. Over 1,100 complaints of everything I just talked about. So the BBB, they've issued a warning not to deal with Vroom. So if you're selling a car or buying a car online, do not go to Vroom, because they have mechanics coming out to you and straight lying to your face. Then if you do buy the car or sell the car, you might not get your money for 6 weeks. Or if you buy the car, you might not get the car at all. Or if you do, it's not the one you bought. And then you can't even drive it because you're not getting the title for sometimes 6, 7, 8 weeks. Sometimes never. Most rating sites have them a 1-star. Think about that. And this is $1 million company dealing with all this stuff. So please, do not deal with Vroom at all. Even for the day that I worked there, they would end up owing me about $350. You think I got that money? No. They didn't even pay me for the day's work. But I told that old woman I was dealing with, I told her exactly what was going on. I said, listen, this company, you don't want to deal with them. They're trying to have me lie to you to get the price lower. But don't worry, ma'am, I'm going to get this vehicle sold. And I called a customer that I work for. He buys a lot of cars, and he has me come out, look at him before he buys them. And I called him and told him what kind of vehicle it was. He liked the car, and he came out later that day, and he bought the vehicle for the original price. So this woman made out okay. She got the vehicle sold. Customer that's a friend of mine, he got a nice car. Vroom, they didn't get shit. They are pieces of shit. They're scam artists. They're ripoffs. Do not deal with Vroom. I couldn't say anything before because I had the NDA, and that's the first time I ever had to sign a non-disclosure agreement. Well, it makes sense now. Look what they're trying to hide. They're trying to hide all this stuff. They don't want their employees to speak out after they leave or get fired. They're trying to limit that. They don't want people finding out what they're really doing. All right, guys, if you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. Also, in the video description, we have all of our tools we use. We have our membership down there. I also have a couple videos, and all the proof that we linked up here will all be down there. Also, our Cash App and Venmo. If you'd like to donate to the channel, it helps us out a whole lot. It'll help out with the day pay that these people didn't pay us. It'll help with that, that's for sure. And like always, Semper Fi, till next time.